Right? Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you all know who I am. I will not introduce myself in the long spiel, but I'm Ms. Miller. I'm the interim principal here at FAST. We also have Mr. Moore. He's gonna help me with the presentation today. So we're gonna talk a little bit about social emotional learning and supports here at FAST. So I want to start with this little video. See if it works. Nope. I don't know why the sound. Can you hear it?
You want to make it bigger?
There's a lot of talk these days about SEL.
It's better with the lights on for
emotional learning. But what exactly is it? Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills. It's just as important as learning reading or math. This learning process is most effective when it begins early and continues through high school. Social emotional skills are essential for success in school, work, and life. With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy relationships. Students learn to recognize what's happening inside them and to be aware of their emotions, which helps them deal with strong emotions and impulsive behaviors. It helps them stop, take a breath, and think about a situation before acting. Students learn to identify others' emotions and perspectives, which helps them empathize and show compassion, no matter who they are or what their background is. It's not difficult to imagine how this is important in the classroom and in life. Students learn to solve problems in peaceful ways and communicate assertively about what they need or want. This helps them get along with other students and get the help they need from adults. When students learn to make responsible decisions about their lives and their future, things can turn out better. Research shows social emotional learning makes a difference. Students who participate in SEL do better academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, and act in delinquent or disruptive ways less often. In the United States, students with strong social emotional competence are twice as likely to earn a college degree and nearly 50% more likely to graduate from high school and have a full-time job by age 25. Just as important, students who are socially and emotionally competent have more friends. This means they're more likely to feel connected to school and do well, and less likely to be left out or bullied. Simply put, by participating in social emotional learning, students learn the skills to succeed in every facet of school and the rest of their lives.
So that does a really good job of kind of giving you an overview of it. And if you had, sorry. So they talked a little bit about what SEL is. This is the model from an organization called Castle, and they're kind of the umbrella organization that deals with a lot of the social emotional research, social emotional learning research that happens. But I highlighted some things that came up to me that sounded really important, and things that I kind of wanted to talk through. Positive relationships, lifelong learners. That's something that's in our charter, right? A caring, just world, right? We're preparing students for the future here at FAST. So it really does support learning and development. I know Mr. Moore and I can both speak from classroom perspective that when I incorporated more SEL strategies into my classroom, I had less behavioral issues, and my students were more excited to come to school. So the video can tell you, but I can tell you as a teacher as well. SEL is a school family community partnership, right? So we all need to work together, parents, teachers, administrators, and community members, to make sure that our students are developing those social emotional learning skills. And then obviously equitable learning environments. We want all the kids to feel safe and welcome here, and SEL is a way that we can do that. So they mentioned a few things in the video, but I wanted to go through some of the statistics. So Castle has done quite a bit of research over the last 15 years. There was a study done in 2011, a meta study. So they took all the studies and then put all the study data together and then came up with another study on top of the study that looked at social emotional learning. And then there was another one in 2001, which I found really interesting because that was right, in the middle of the pandemic. So in 2011, they noted that students increased 11 percentile points on standardized tests when they have consistent SEL instruction. Students were able to manage stress better, and there was less incidence of depression. Hi, come on in. There's a chair in there. Okay. So the students with SEL showed a 27% improvement in academic performance, and 24% had growth in their social behaviors and lower levels of distress. But in 2001, this last one I found really interesting. Reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety, and since the beginning of the pandemic, we have noticed a big uptick in kids having issues with those two things. And so we really want to support them here with our social emotional learning program, and we want to keep those things at bay as best we can. So what do educators think of it? Are they like, when they first brought SEL into my classroom, I was like, no, I don't have time for this. This is ridiculous. But again, Castle did quite a bit of research on this across the country, and across the world, really looking at educators and what they think of SEL programs. So 80% of educators from across 15 countries say that it has a positive impact in their classroom. And then these are the key skills that all of the teachers in this 2001 study noted as important for their students' development. And obviously if we look at these, we want our kids to have these things. And honestly, I feel like to be successful as an adult, these are much more important than knowing dates of wars or high level math. I never in my life have ever found the circumference of a circle in regular everyday life, except for teaching it to fifth graders. But these things I use every day, right? And that's what employers are looking for. If any of you do any hiring, right? You're looking for these kinds of things out of people. You want them to come to work, responsible decision makers. You want them to get along with their coworkers, relationship skills, right? You want them to know when they're upset, self-awareness, and social awareness is, again, getting along with those coworkers. So we hear SEL, I'm going to show you a picture in a minute of the umbrella. So when we talk about SEL, we're not just talking about second step, but second step is our explicit instruction of these kind of skills. So the teachers use it in the morning during their morning meeting to discuss different areas like responsible decision making, working together, how to calm down. They teach breathing exercises, that kind of thing, empathy. So I have a little video here of Miss Edwards doing her SEL lesson that I think is really kind of shows you what it looks like here fast. Hopefully. I don't even turn that on.
It is not going there. Well.
Can you hear it? Mm-hmm. And so that might not be something that you as parents are aware of, but a lot of times children have a hard time identifying somebody else's feelings without explicit instructions.
What grade is that?
Kindergarten.
They're talking about kindness. How can you show kindness?
Give them a,
That is the most she would.
That's his daughter.
That's my daughter. That's the most she's gonna talk in the class.
Just a whisper.
you can. You can ask them what's on, yeah, I'm gonna switch people on you. When someone is really, what did you do that you should have times that? To share. Yeah, you can play with it. Yeah, ask someone if they want to play with it. In a problem with someone else, a friend. So, starting today, we did, first of all, say what our problem is. So what are we going to start off with? Good. So we need to know what the problem is first. The problem. So remember, we talked about different feelings, different emotions. The three main ones that we talked about are happiness, sadness, and anger or being mad. Good. And so sometimes we have those emotions, and all three of those can be pretty strong sometimes, right? Yeah. So everyone, like I said, everyone has strong feelings. And sometimes with those strong feelings, that's when a problem occurs.
So I just wanted you to see, they do that for about 10 or 15 minutes each day. In the elementary school, and I don't know why they keep doing that. And then in middle school they do it a little less often, but we try to get them to do it as often as possible. I know this is kind of blurry, but I wanted you to see this because SEL is all about our school climate and culture. That's the environment that we're all in and we want to create. And then under that, we have all of these things that are a part of our SEL. So that direct instruction would be that curriculum piece, that second step, but that's only a piece of it. MTSS, that's multi-tiered supports. That would be like RTI, those behavioral supports through intervention. And it could just be classroom intervention. So the teacher knowing that you need a break sometimes. It could be much bigger than that. It could be that you're a tier 3 and you need somebody to come and take you for a break, or you need a snack at a different time during the day. School and family and community partnership, professional learning, so that's teaching teachers about this. Teamwork, obviously, we all work together. And then PBIS, interventions and support. So I'm gonna let Mr. Moore talk a little bit about that because he's been working on developing our PBIS program here at FAST.
So what is PBIS? Positive behaviors, intervention, and support. It is a whole system. So we're going to talk about it. Ms. Miller already mentioned climate and culture. So here is just in black and white what it is. It is simply put, the feeling of the school. So, like the pulse, how do you feel about your school, for the students, for the teachers, for the parents? And we have to be intentional, teach it, promote it, build it, and work at it all of the time. Relationships, personal growth, and goals. So PBIS, this is it. It's an evidence-based system, right? It is proven to improve the climate and culture. It is proven to produce better outcomes. And because it's strategic, we are implementing, we're installing this year. And this is the year where we're not just installing by saying we're installing. This is the year that we go full-fledged and we're no longer installing. We will be, by the end of the year, emerging, and you will see the evidence of PBIS really soon. So what it does, it improves student outcomes. We talked about it. It reduces the need for discipline. All right. We know we can be a school with lots of discipline problems, or we can be a school with, the environment that produces the need for pushing education further. We want the kids to thrive. We want the teachers to feel that efficacy where they feel like I came, I saw, I conquered in the classroom today. It is the greatest feeling in the world to see the light bulb of your child that has been struggling for 2 weeks to grasp a skill, and you retaught it, and boom, light bulb comes on, and now they don't just get it, but they can teach somebody else. Teachers want to feel like they're not just teaching, but the kids are getting it. And so PBIS is going to produce, and this is why it matters. We need every stakeholder to take part and everyone to be happy as they do it. So here's the thing. Why is FAST becoming a PBIS school? It's really already said it, but we teach the whole student. So if your child comes in, like mine today, she was upset because her big sister accidentally wet her, like got water on her perfectly picked out school uniform. So she's upset. So we can teach her how to deal with her emotions, and we can help the teacher identify, and then her classmate, like the video showed, can identify, pull her to the side, talk to her, and help her feel better. So it's the expectation that we shift our culture. I'm going to highlight some things from that video that we saw. So here's what you can expect. You can expect continued academic excellence, growth in the classrooms, positive language, usage to reinforce desired outcomes, rewards and positive reinforcement, behavior matrix that's coming up next. I'll show you those. Celebrations of growth. But this is one thing I want to stress, the language usage. So if you saw in the video, Ms. Edwards corrected a student. Did you catch it? One was a directive. Hey, I need you to do this, right? Put your hands to your side. I need you to do that. But then the other moment was, thank you for. Both of those instances, she was correcting. Notice what she didn't say. Don't do this. The language shifts from negative words to positive words. Thank you for doing this, even though the kid's not doing it. Directive, do this. Nothing about it is negative. And so our culture is going to become even more positive than it already is. And so Ms. Edwards is actually the PBIS coach. I am the admin that oversees the process. And so she's really the model for promoting the in-class interaction piece, where I need the student to shift. How do I shift them? We take on the emotions of the person we're talking to a lot, right? So when you got that friend that calls, and then by the time you were here and it drags you down, well, if we're positive, we're going to fuel that student in that interaction with positivity. So if they're negative, we fill them up with positivity. If they're already happy, then we can share it. And so that's the goal. That's what you can expect We're gonna continue to grow academically. We are a school that promotes technology, academia, all of that. We're gonna continue that. The language is gonna get better. We will have positive rewards, reinforcement. Some of them will be student-led, especially in our older grades. We're gonna let them, hey, y'all wanna do this? No, we voted for, last year we were able to do, and it wasn't voted, it was voted for by the eighth grade. We did dance, the eighth graders, sending them off into their high school career. We did dance at the end of the year. So it's things like that. You'll see more rewards, you'll see more celebrations of growth, and so on. So here is the school-wide matrix. We're using the STAR. The STAR acronym is going to be safe, timely, accountable, and respectful. So these are the goals that we have. Can't do anything here if you're not safe. This is our actual matrix that you're going to begin to see in the hallway, near the restroom, exit door for the playground, and carpool. So you'll see this on the exit door in the area where it's appropriate. So you actually won't see the part that says restroom near the door of that exit door. So you know when we go in student hall right there, you will see.
Hallway and recess.
Yeah, you won't see restroom, but you'll see these recess, hallway, carpool. Because at those exit doors, that's where it's appropriate. So near the restroom, you're gonna see hallway and restroom. You'll see in the common areas, you'll see the whole big one. But notice what's not here. Anyone guess? I heard somebody whisper.
Repercussions?
No. What area is missing?
The classroom.
Classroom. We're empowering the teachers to create their own matrix for their classroom. So here's an example of a classroom matrix. And look, it's so funny. That space is empty. It's like, oh no. Well, in that particular area, we think we can accommodate with everything else. So this is kindergarten class. This is Miss Evans' class, actually. So she's got instructions on iPads, instructions on the classroom library. They have a bathroom inside their classroom, kindergarten. So at the carpet, well, the video was at the carpet and the desk. So she outlined the areas in her class and she's gonna actively teach them. So what we do here at FAST, we always promote academics, but one of the things that we're stressing is teaching and reteaching and reteaching and reteaching our behavior. We cannot, the studies show, we cannot only teach academics. When we pour in and reteach behavior and reteach it and teach it over in a positive way, it has positive outcomes. So we will actually begin to prepare. We got a little bit more than a week. We're launching our entire program on next Friday. So what that looks like and what we need, continued partnership. You guys are here. You know you're partnering with us. We know you're working with us. And we need your help to reinforce it at home. I had, when I was presenting to the staff at our last DBIS meeting, I took this line from a movie. If you guys know the movie Drumline, the band director says one band, one sound. If we have common language, if all the stakeholders in our community have common language, then it will drive us in that way. So it's going to take your help reminding our other friends, other parents, reminding our students, reminding everyone, hey, positivity. Saying don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. But you can also say, thank you for doing this. And so the negativity gets removed and we're left with positive reinforcement. And so that person that's seeking attention gets it in a positive way. The goal is to remove all of the concern. Nothing is perfect, but as we see with the science, with the statistics that Ms. Miller showed, it moves us into the place we need to be. Positivity, and that's going to promote increased outcomes, student learning. So,
And two, I want to give you guys two secrets of teaching. One is it's a lot of repeating yourself over and over again. And the second one is, now I forgot what it was.
uh-oh. That part, being able to adjust.
Explicit instruction. So like the things that Mr. Moore was saying, I like the way that you're sitting up straight. I like that you have your pencil out. I like that your knees are under the table, or I need you to put your feet under the desk. I need you to put your chair down on the floor. But over and over and over again. And if you're repeating the same kinds of things at home, that helps us a lot here at school, and it helps your children to move forward. Did you want to add anything else?
One day, one time.
Any questions?
Well, I would like to see, I know you said you do in middle school, you do it less often, but I think they need as much, if not more, than the elementary. I know that the ideal is starting from kindergarten, because then you can build them up with that in mind. But I feel like it's never too late, even in middle school. So I would like to see a video of that. How would that look like in the middle school classroom? And the approach is the same, but actually different, because we're talking about different phases of the development.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would like to know, what does that look like in the middle school?
And you can have the same I've had the same conversation with middle schoolers where I'm like, look at my face and tell me what you think. How do you think I feel right now?
But their response might be like, some will be sarcastic,
Yes.
some will be goofy about it.
And
like-
then it's like that's a back and forth. So okay, well, let's try again. But you're right, they need that same reinforcement of things as simple as, okay, how do we solve a problem? How do we what does that face mean? Because some people, their face is, they may look mad to you, but I'm just thinking, so, and giving them the tools to ask somebody, like, are you okay? That's definitely something we're working on in middle school, and hopefully moving forward, we'll see more and more of it.
And to your point, we do have, so we're shooting video, modeling it for, like, we're actually, when we launch, we're gonna launch with teaching the students. So we will have video demonstrations for the teachers to present. We haven't, the upper grades do it, and they do it regularly. We just haven't put the footage to it. So it's going on. And I've seen, particularly in grades that I've seen, middle school, that I've seen the drama has reduced drastically. It has.
Since the beginning of the year.
Since the beginning of the year, it's been greatly reduced, and it is a tribute to the middle school teachers actually taking the time to do second step. And the second step lesson that if you saw up behind Ms. Edwards, that was the kindergarten lesson. It goes all the way up, it goes all the way up to high school, but it is, every grade level has their own set of 20 to 30 lessons with units designed to build upon each other. So it's there, they're doing it, and I see the results because they're able to navigate some of these emotions, because we know middle school emotions are all over the place. So they're doing it, and it's showing up because we're having less time to talk to them outside of the class. So it is happening. We just haven't taken the time to actually video. I know my favorite grade level to see during that time is right after the announcement, so like 7:45 to 8 in between there. Sixth grade, they're on it.
Yeah, Mr. McKinley does an amazing job.
It's amazing. So we can get the footage. We just highlighted kindergarten in that moment. Yes.
And do the teachers choose what they're gonna talk about each day?
It's a curriculum. They can pinpoint if we need to. Let's say we need to address bullying. I've actually gone in, taken a second step lesson for 8th grade, and I think I got all of 7th grade to address bullying specifically, and targeting and so on. So you have second step has pinpoint lessons, and then the full curriculum. So if you need to address a specific skill, you can do that. If you follow the curriculum, it will address it in entirety over the course of the year. And so each lesson builds upon the previous lesson.
It makes it easy for the teacher.
Yeah.
And, the data and the research shows that like that explicit instruction and where we're all using the same language is beneficial.
I'm just here thinking, because from middle school, I think it would, I don't know if that's logistically speaking possible, but would be interesting to kind of, for each teacher ask the classroom, the homeroom, if there's a subject. Because then you can pick up what is going on in the classroom behind the scenes from the teacher.
Yes.
And someone would just shoot a word or a subject they want to talk about. They probably will do that in trying to be funny because that's hiding what is really
Okay,
there. But that's a clue for what's
Yes.
going on.
And I
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
do that when I taught fourth grade, we'd have class meetings.
Yes.
So the nice thing about second step is like, if you don't know what you're doing, you have a structure, you have something there. But if once you learn how to do it, you can step out and do stuff like that. So my kids would once a week, we all sat in a circle and we would practice conversation. I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk, and they would bring up problems and we would talk about, okay, no names, what's happening. But it took some time to build that kind of culture and I had to get used to doing it regularly, as a teacher first.
And at a high level.
But next year,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, what I was saying is it doesn't necessarily has to ask the classroom if they are having a problem, because that's too direct to them. It's just like asking, like, is there anything and I mean, within the subject that you guys would like to talk about? Because that will come out,
Right.
whatever's bothering them.
And we can create that pulse check. Ms. Miller does a pulse check with the staff. And we've done it, and I know in the past with the students where we just pulse check and see where the student is. It's a requirement. I know that students do have that twice in the year, beginning and the end of the year, but it's something we can add as well. That's a good observation. If we add that, then each teacher can target, or we can target as a school, but we have that as well. What's this month? I forgot the focus.
Growth mindset.
Growth. So this month is growth mindset. Each month we have a focus that we are targeting, even as a school overarching. But then, like you said, there's that. It might be this issue going on. So we can become more proactive if the students are hearing. So here's the thing that you just pointed out. We're installing. We're growing. And it's gonna take that feedback, that every brain putting our heads together and working together. So that's a good addition to what we're doing already to help us see. It's just supposed to. We do it for the adults. We can do it for the students as well. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So it sounds like we already have fragments of this that have been rolled out. What is the difference between that and next Friday where we actually have a full implementation?
So what we've been doing is introducing it in phases.
Since when?
Beginning of this year. We have been rolling it out little bit by little bit, because if you dump it on the teacher's lap with everything, they got lesson plans, they got second step, they got all these things. And so PBIS is a culture shift. So you can't just shift the culture in one day. So what we did was we invited the teachers to actually help us create the model for how we will move forward. So if something goes on in class, we created a blueprint for every classroom to follow. So if this behavior occurs one time, we know what to do. If it occurs twice, we know what to do. If it occurs on Monday but not Tuesday, we know what to do. If it occurs on Monday 5 times, we know what to do. And so we invited the teachers to walk with us in the project and through the implementation. And so now, having done this since August, we're ready to launch. So we didn't just dump it on the teacher's lap. We taught them what it was. We taught them how to do it. And now we're at the point where we can all implement. So each teacher will have their own classroom matrix, and then we'll have the school-wide, and then we'll have the common language. And then we have the behavioral steps on the back end that the teacher needs to follow in order to support the student who is having difficulty with this particular issue. And we know what to do on the next day too.
And we've been actually using second step for the last 3 years. When I came first as the AP, I oversaw the introduction of second step and SEL too fast. And so for the last 3 years, it had been working really well, and we're just kind of trying to package everything together so that we have second step under that umbrella that I showed you, that where everything kind of fits together. It's all not jumbled around, but is systematic and easy for teachers to do and
Oh.
use.
When you said the beginning of the year, you
Mhm.
mean school year?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
We think
Yeah, we think year to
June to June, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I just was confused for a minute if it was like calendar year or
No,
school year.
no.
Yeah.
We, in our head, the calendar year is like July, that's when we start the pre-planning.
Mhm.
Like that's just the way our brain works. at this
Yeah,
point.
especially if you've been in it for a minute.
So is PBIS a paid program that we have?
No, it's federally
it's a-
funded.
yeah,
Okay.
No, and we get support from the state
Okay.
to implement like teaching, training, and coaching. So the PBIS committee actually sat through several days of training. I've been in meetings, learning, getting coaching. This is actually oh goodness, like my 8th year of leading in PBIS. I've been the team lead and coach at another school as well. So once I found out we were doing, I saw, because I was a PE teacher, I walked in the classroom and saw a PBIS matrix. I was like, we do PBIS? And I just got excited because I knew what that meant. I saw it work. I saw a school that was about to get taken over by the state begin to implement PBIS. And we went from that, I think that number back then was like 60. The CCRPI number is 60. That's the number where that's that score. We were like a 40. And in 4 years' time, 65.
And we want to make sure that the way that we're using SEL and at our school is innovative and on the forefront of what this research is telling us. So I am constantly involved in professional development for social emotional learning and support for staff, and then we bring it back and present as well. And I encourage all of our staff members. I think Mr. Moore is going to a restorative justice workshop in a few weeks. We have some teachers going to online behavior and SEL conference next week. So we're always trying to be, what's the next thing? What's the research telling us? And then bringing it back to the school.
How many schools are doing it within Fulton?
Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, so PBS is just a part of it. But most of, since it's federally funded, it's kind of the framework of PBIS is everywhere. Well, we get to make it our PBIS.
I think that's the key, right, for FAST,
Right.
because like
Yeah.
you were sharing the difference between that 25 percentile points, right?
Mhm.
Could be because that school was operating in a much different climate
Mhm.
than we are here at FAST. And I would imagine like that center column that we had
Mhm.
for, was it exclusionary discipline?
Yeah,
I would imagine that that's not an issue, or maybe as large of an issue for us here
right.
because of the engagement.
No, and what our main focus is with our students is making sure that they're well-rounded people with those skills that they're able to use at a high level. So we want those relationship skills, all of those things to be well developed by the time that they leave here so that they're prepared for high school and what's beyond that.
Right.
And so where other schools may be just trying to manage behavior, we're trying to mold them into amazing little humans.
All of our goals, right?
Yes, we're all on the same page.
Right. I think it's very interesting. I'll speak just from my own experience and lens. It really to me is interesting because we chose FAST and are still at FAST because of the multicultural experience that it provides our children, which our home zone school would not. So because of that, I think layering or maybe adding some intersections with that would be really helpful because we don't all speak the same language.
Exactly.
And since you all are standardizing it, that leaves that community and parent support gap so that we can understand. So if you have any sort of documentation that you could share,
Yeah, we can
a
definitely do that.
roadmap,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
any of those. I
Yeah.
think that would be great for us to support too.
And there is additional information, links and things like that. I had Marie last year add a SEL tab under our curriculum
I
piece.
remember that, yeah.
So that's available, and you can always reach out to your classroom teacher and ask like where they are and what they're working on. But yeah, we can definitely give you guys more resources.
And in also like one of the things that I would stress and suggest you can have an at-home matrix too. We can get you that. Yeah. But that's the other element. You can do an at-home matrix, and you have your bathroom and your bathroom, kitchen. It could really work out for you. And it sounds funny, but no, that if you put it in black and white and reinforce it, we know our students will hold us accountable to what you said we would do if we took care of the bathroom and the kitchen and so on. So it's full circle. We're all involved in growing and raising the next leaders of our nation and community. So
Yeah, that's what we want here at Best.
yeah.
I was just looking at second step and their lessons. So it's done by like units, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
is that something to where, it looks like they're four, so what you do two?
So there's 4 units and 21 or 22 lessons, depending on the grade level. So at the elementary level, they do, and I think at the middle school level, I'm less comfortable talking about the middle school level just because I didn't directly oversee that. But at the elementary level, they do 1 lesson a week.
Mhm.
So it may be like Miss Edwards was talking about, solving problems and talking about that in the context of what someone's face looks like. And to identify the emotion. So that would be their 1 week. And then the next week they might talk about one of the steps to solving a problem. And they would practice and they practice and they practice. They do like,
Well,
what's it called when 2 people go in the front of
the modeling, the acting it out. Yeah,
they act it out, yeah.
So I can speak to how I ran my PE class. On last year, we had our reduced shortened day on Thursday. So on Thursdays, all throughout the day, I would do SEL, and once a month I would do for the elementary grades, because elementary met with me 1 day a week, each class. And so I would take Thursdays and do SEL every week. So that's how I was able to add to for middle school. And so 8th grade, their task is a little challenging because they do capstones. So that's why we can't say they do it every day. They can't. They have to deal with capstones a little bit more. So theirs is a little different. And so each grade level has its own challenges, of course. But I was able to incorporate it in the weekly, in my curriculum weekly. And so what Ms. Miller is alluding to is that one task a week. Well, if it's middle school, you talk about it once a week, but then you address it, and that's the way I model it. You address it and just reiterate. And so if something comes up in the week, then we talk about it. So that was an incident that I highlighted last year, that showed up on the news in another county. The kids knew because it showed up on the news, and I don't want to bring it to light because we know anything that shows up on the news, scary, when it relates to schools. But it showed up, and so the kids wanted to talk about it. Kids needed to talk about it, but because we had already done SEL, they had the language and they had the support, and we had the environment already set, so that even though we're PE and we're learning about movement, we could still have a moment and discuss our emotions, discuss what we can do to help our friends who are identifying issues within themselves. Yes.
So like she was saying, and is there a way to give us as the middle school parents
Mhm.
a heads up on what's being discussed?
Yeah, we
So
can
that-
definitely do that. I'm not sure if
Just so that we can.
It depends on what
incorporate-
week we are in and what grade level, of course. So for what we can do, I know elementary does it. I get a newsletter every Friday from Miss Edwards. So Miss Edwards can do, so that's just a community awareness piece that we can add to discuss. So within the grade level, we can coordinate that with them to make sure they're putting it out. So yeah, I know, but it's going on. I can assure you, it's going on weekly. It's
It'll
just not
just be
every day.
easier to be supportive of y'all.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can
We know
reiterate
what
on, yeah,
thing we're supposed to be supportive of.
perfect, yeah.
so they have a meeting in here at 10.
Ooh.
So we're gonna have to, unless there's any other pressing issues for the good of the group. I want to thank you all for coming today and listening to us. And for all your support. I really appreciate it.